this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, and tonight I will be talking about AEW Dynamite. Alright, so, tonight's show was an alright show. I didn't think it was too bad, but let's talk about one of my favorite talking points on tonight's Dynamite. And it is actually Adam Cole Bebe's birthday, so they actually celebrated his birthday on tonight's Dynamite. And I'm going to talk about that first, and then I'll get into the full show. So after their blind eliminator match, which I'll talk about when I get into the full show review, MJF said that, he took the microphone and he asked if there were any devil worshippers. He thinks that their match would have been a lot better if they both done a double clothesline. So MJF gets Adam Cole to do his whole baby thing. And Adam Cole agrees to hang out with MJF this weekend. And so, again, like I said, it's Adam Cole's birthday. So MJF brings out these guys. He brings out a cake. And it was so hilarious. He puts a little birthday hat and that streamer thing on Adam Cole. And I was totally thinking this was going to end terrible because you guys know weddings, contract signings, and celebrations and wrestling always end horrible. And MJF, one of my favorite things was that MJF started singing happy birthday to Adam Cole. And as you guys know, MJF knows how to sing in real life. So he wasn't that bad. And another thing is when Adam Cole had his back turned, MJF was looking at the camera and he said he was going to shove Adam Cole into that cake. But Adam Cole beat him to it and he shoved MJF instead. And as he had cake on his face, Adam Cole wiped some of the cake off and he tasted it. And he said he thinks Max his friend. And I thought this segment was so hilarious. It was actually one of my favorite Dynamite spots. But I thought it was a really, really fun segment. And I can't wait to see more interactions between MJF and Adam Cole. But what did you guys think of Adam Cole's birthday celebration? They're getting along, but I honestly feel like it's going to end with MJF probably betraying Adam Cole. So with that being said, let's kick off the show review. So tonight's Dynamite it was supposed to start with the blind eliminator tag team tournament match, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. But before the match started, you had a backstage interview with Darby Allin and Keith Lee. Now, Darby Allin was talking about how he's an idiot and he knows Keith Lee doesn't want to team with Swerve Strickland. But he says that this isn't about that. It's about Keith Lee. He says that at one time, Keith Lee was the most dominant champion here and he feels that he's been lost in the shuffle since they lost the tag titles. And he says that if that's the case, he needs to do something about it. He tells Keith Lee that even if he has to win this match 2-on-1 without Swerve Strickland, then he needs to do that. Darby says that all he wants is for Keith Lee to pull his head out of his ass and take this serious, or he can sit on the apron and cry about it. And then he asks which Keith Lee will show up tonight. And so as Darby Allin is leaving, Keith Lee says that was ballsy, stupid, but ballsy. So this leads into the eliminated tag team tournament match. It's Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. I thought this was a fun little match. I think I think probably the biggest spot in this match was when Darby Allin does a code red to Keith Lee. I was like, wow. I was impressed by that. I wasn't expecting that moment. Another spot in here that I thought was pretty cool was Keith Lee was just tossed Darby Allin around like a rag doll. And I really like the orange punch coffin drop combination that Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy tried to do to Keith Lee, but it didn't work out for them. So Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy are victorious and they advance to the next round of the blind eliminator tag team tournament. Afterwards, you get a Nick Wayne video package, and if you guys aren't familiar with Nick Wayne or who he is, this video package is a good way of introducing him to people. I have heard of Nick Wayne. I haven't seen any of his matches, but I've heard that he's actually pretty good in the ring, so I'm looking forward to see what he brings to AEW and to see his match. because I've never seen his matches. He is making his debut. I believe he's making. I think that he said that he's making his debut next week against Swerve Strickland. So that should be a fun match. I'm looking forward to it. Then we get a Jack Perry backstage segment. I don't know if I heard correctly, but it seems to me like he's still being called Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I'm still waiting for him to drop the Jungle Boy and become Hollywood Jack Perry. So he basically shows up in his car and he says he's not some thug from New York and he's gonna demand an FTW title match from Tony Khan. Now, if you guys have been watching my reviews, you know I called this. I freaking called this. I said Jungle Boy was gonna turn heel to take the FTW title off a Hook, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. And also, Michael 101591 called that too. So we both called it. Afterwards, we get a really fun segment with MJF and Adam Cole. It's like a training skit. So they're like at a gym, and MJF is on the outside. He says he's waited for over an hour for Adam Cole. And then Adam Cole comes out and says that he's waited for MJF for over an hour. And like he's trying to do lifts, but MJF asked Adam Cole to spot him, and Adam Cole is just like looking on his phone and like not even paying attention to MJF. And I think it's so funny. There's people cracking fireworks on the outside if you hear any. I do apologize for that. And then MJF is shocked that Adam Cole can bench press what he was able to bench press. So Adam Cole asks MJF what is next. And I'm really enjoying these little skits between them, so I hope we get more. They're actually really fun. We get a trios match. It's Daddy Ass and the Acclaim versus the Bollywood Boys and the Blade. So this was kind of random. A random little trios match here. And, the Acclaim and Daddy Ass won. So what happened afterwards was Harley Cameron appeared on the Titantron and she told them she has a video for them next week. She wanted to get back at them since they interrupted her. And she once again tells Anthony Bowens that she'll be waiting for him. And so then Daddy Ass says he's got 2 words for her. Suck it. We get a John Moxley video package, and he's basically talking about Eddie Kingston, how he and him are the exact same people they were in 2009, and that through the ups and downs, the good times and the bad times, they both made it out. John Moxley says they got everything they could have wanted out of the business, and he asked Eddie Kingston, what is there to complain about? What's the reason to walk around mad all the time? He says that they don't live in the past, and he needs to make every day count. And what really pisses off John Moxley is how much time Eddie Kingston spends complaining about the new generation, the young kids, how they have no respect, no worth ethic. He says that they spend time building the next generation, and he had this dream of Kingston where he finally let the past beat the past and embrace the future. He says that Eddie Kingston could have became what he wanted, what he could have became what these people wanted him to be, but in reality, Moxley isn't going to pretend. And he tells Eddie Kingston to answer his phone. So Eddie Kingston recently became New Japan Strong Openweight Champion after defeating Kenta. And it meant the world to him if you guys saw the video on Twitter. So really happy for Eddie Kingston. He deserves that. We find out that both teams competing in Blood and Guts each need a 5th person because from BBC, Bryan Danielson has a broken arm, and from the Elite, Eddie Kingston is competing in the G1 Climax. So who do you guys think is going to be the 5th member for each team? Should be interesting and fun. Maybe for the only person I can think of from the Elite maybe would be Kota Ibushi? Maybe? But who do you guys think? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. We get a Chris Jericho in-ring segment. Basically the crowd is chanting for him. He says tonight's a little bittersweet because over the last few months he's had many losses to his name. Now it's time for him to reevaluate things and make a couple changes. And he says that being in the Providence of Alberta is the perfect place for him to be rejuvenated. And I don't know if the crowd was booing Stu Hart or if they were saying Stu, but Chris Jericho mentions the name Stu Hart, which is the dad of Bret the Hitman Hart. and patriarch of the legendary Hart family. But Chris Jericho interpreted that they were booing Stu Hart, which is why he says, "Why are you booing Stu?" But I think they were saying Stu. I don't think they were booing him. He said he remembered what it was like when he first started wrestling, when wrestling was everything to him. He goes on to say wrestling is still everything to him. That it's time to become a better Chris Jericho, maybe even become the best version of Chris Jericho ever. And then Don Callis comes out, and there are "fuck you, Callis" chants. Don Callis says it was 6 years ago today, in 2017, where he called Jericho and asked if he was interested in main eventing the Tokyo Dome. Jericho is quick to remind Don Callis that it was 8 years ago in 2015 that Chris Jericho helped Don Callis get back into the wrestling business and helped him get into AEW. Don Callis says that he was recently betrayed by a coward punk named Kenny Omega, and that he's building his new family based on trust. He thinks about the GOAT. He thinks about his best friend of 34 years. He thinks of the man who beat Omega. Don Callis tells Chris Jericho if he's ready to change history. He asks Chris Jericho if he's ready to join the Don Callis family. Jericho says that he doesn't join factions, he creates them. And now here I thought he was going to say no, but he instead answers maybe, which I thought was really interesting. Maybe Chris Jericho will be the fifth person in their BCC's Blood and Guts match. We get a quick Roderick Strong medical update, and homie is just wearing like a neck brace because he got taken out by Samoa Joe during Collision. Adam Cole checks up on Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong asks him what's the deal with MJF, and Adam Cole tells Strong not to worry about it. And then at that time, Adam Cole got a text from MJF, which leads into their blind eliminator tag team tournament match. It's MJF and Adam Cole versus Daddy Magic and the Butcher. Oh my god. MJF came out with Adam Cole. Well, he came out first and then Adam Cole. He was doing the entire entrance with Adam Cole. Like, he did the Adam Cole, baby, the boom. Oh my god, that was hilarious. Thinking he was part of the Undisputed Era over here, but that was so hilarious. I started laughing when that happened. You know, the crowds are chanting happy birthday to Adam Cole because, like I said earlier, it was Adam Cole's birthday. And like you can see throughout this match, MJF is just trying to get Adam Cole to do the double clothesline. But he refuses, and MJF, baby. Right? He refuses, and instead Adam Cole super kicks Matt Menard, and then he hits him with the boom, and they are victorious here. But I thought overall these Adam Cole and MJF interactions are hilarious. I hope we see more of them. And I think we all know where this is gonna go. You know how Adam Cole said MJF probably doesn't even watch the show. I bet he did watch the show, and MJF is gonna betray Adam Cole. So after this is Adam Cole's birthday celebration, which I talked about, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. Then we get Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, backstage, and she's talking about how she doesn't care what anybody says or what they say about her. There's two things that Ruby can't take from her pride and the fact that she won the first Owen Hart Cup. And I was there for that. You know, like I really like the fact that Ruby Soho last year came out to Rancid's Ruby Soho. Like I got that whole performance on tape, which I thought was really cool. We get a quick Jericho Appreciation Society backstage interview, and Daniel Garcia asks Chris Jericho what they're supposed to be his family and that they need him. Chris Jericho says that they can't be under his wing forever and need to branch out on their own. Chris Jericho says he wants him to show who can be leader and tells them that they can be with him forever. So at this point, we also find out that Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara are going to be teaming together in the blind tag team eliminator tournament. So it's very interesting. I mean, are we seeing Chris Jericho break up the Jericho Appreciation Society, or is Chris Jericho cooking something up his sleeve that we don't know about? We gotta wait and see. But maybe he is the fifth member of the BCC. So next we get the Owen Hart Tournament Women's Quarterfinals match. It's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Ruby Soho. This is basically a rematch of last year's finals. Last year's finals being Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Ruby Soho. You also find out Rampage is having their 100th episode this Friday. So, of course, Ray and Tony Storm were at ringside. They cause distraction so that Ruby can cheap shot Britt. Tony Storm trips Britt Baker. And there's this one spot where Saraya distracts the ref, and Tony Storm grabs the title, and Ruby Soho sends Britt Baker into the title, but that's not enough. She hits her with the no feature, but Britt still manages to kick out. To add insult to injury, Ruby Soho attempts to do a lockjaw, but it backfires on her. And so when Dr. Britt Baker actually locks in the lockjaw, Tony Storm and Saraya drag Ruby to safety. And so when Ruby pins Britt Baker in the ring, you could see Tony Storm and Saraya holding on to Ruby's arm. And that is how Ruby Soho pins Dr. Britt Baker DMD to advance. We also find out she will be facing Sky Blue next week in the semifinals. And at the end, Sky Blue comes out and they have a stare down. That actually makes perfect sense because Sky Blue was a target of the Outcast for a while. So our main event ended up being Kenny Omega versus Wheeler Yuta. And you guys remember at Double or Nothing, Wheeler Yuta was the one who pinned Kenny Omega to get the victory for his team. So Wheeler Yuta attacked Kenny Omega before the match. Kenny Omega was just taking it to Wheeler Yuta. He gave him with the back suplex, the backbreaker, the drop kick. Let me see. I'm like everyone here. I'm waiting for MJF to literally stab Adam Cole in the back. Plus, will be confused by Jericho or JSA babyface. Makes JAS Inner Circle 2.0 babyface run part 2. MJF is going to turn on Adam Cole. As for JAS, I think maybe Jericho has something up his sleeve. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. I'm a little confused by that too. Especially because he didn't say no to Don Callis. It's hard to say who can be trusted less, MJF or Don Callis. Right? Yeah, Kenny Omega doing a superplex to Wheeler Yuta. Yeah, Wheeler Yuta doing a German suplex to Kenny Omega. You got Kenny Omega doing the Snapdragon suplex to Wheeler Yuta. Kenny Omega hits the V-trigger to Wheeler Yuta, and then the seatbelt to Omega. I mean, then Wheeler Yuta hits Kenny Omega with the seatbelt. Kenny Omega hits the powerbomb followed by a knee to Wheeler Yuta. And then Don Callis comes out, and he brings security with him. Well, actually, no. Security come out as well because they're trying to stop Don Callis. And while this is going on, Konosuke Takeshita attacks Kenny Omega with the Blue Thunder Bomb. You think it's over right there. And, Wheeler Yuta hits the splash to Kenny Omega, but he kicks out. I'm also excited for Blood and Guts. I hope we get a woman's Blood and Guts soon as well. Honestly, I thought, in my opinion, the women's Blood and Guts match was going to be the Outcast versus the Originals. But unfortunately, because Jamie Hayter got injured, I think they scrapped the match. Because the feud literally kind of just stopped. But I honestly think it had to do with Jamie Hayter's injury. And if it wasn't for Jamie Hayter's injury, they probably would have done the women's Blood and Guts. So afterwards, Kenny Omega does the one-wing angel to Wheeler Yuta. And Kenny Omega wins. Then Konosuke Takeshita and Claudio Castelloni attack Kenny Omega after the match. And then the Elite come out with the chairs to even the odds. And Kenny Omega hits the V-trigger to Claudio. And Hangman was about to hit him with the chair. But he was stopped by Dark Order. And that is how Dynamite goes off the air. And honestly, I feel like they kind of cut it off right before anything else was supposed to happen. But overall, I didn't think tonight's show was too bad. I definitely did like some. That was Adam Cole firework. Yeah, it was. But I'm gonna go ahead and end my review here. For tonight's anime was alright. I give it a 7 out of 10. And with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys Friday after Rampage. Bye.